Everybody, welcome back to the channel. I apologize, I've not posted for a few days, but I am back. So what I wanted to talk today about was the evolutionary basis for insomnia. A lot of things that we talk about in sleep and a lot of things that I tell my patients are related especially to, if we can kind of go back to evolutionary times or early in evolution, primitive man, right? So if we think about insomnia, right, why would that be something that nature or God or whatever has given to us? Think of it this way, right? Let's go back to 40,000 years ago. You're sitting in your hut or whatever, you're with your tribe or your family or whatnot, and all of a sudden in the distance, you see a gigantic black bear or something of that nature, lions or tigers or bears, right? Coming at you, coming at your camp. Now, in that situation, would it be helpful if you were able to sleep? Let's say you were the protector of the tribe. Would it be helpful for you to sleep? Probably not. Okay? Because if you slept and you were the protector, guess what? You die, everybody dies, your bloodline, your genealogy ends there. So, what nature has done in that situation is, if you're in an anxious, fearful, fight or flight type of situation, you will not be able to sleep. And the benefit of this is being able to stay awake and stay vigilant throughout the night, until the threat is either removed or eliminated somehow. Okay? And that's the same process that's happening today. Now, we have the same brain, or a very similar brain, as we did back then, but society, technology, everything has advanced so fast, especially in the last, let's say, 100 years or so, that our environment, it does not match with what our brain is basically wired to do. So you see where I'm going with this, right? The stressors we have nowadays are not, there's a black bear coming down the path towards my tribe. It's, I have stresses at work, I have stresses with my spouse, I have stresses with my family, I have stresses with finance, whatever it is. And that same process is still going. Now, in this situation, obviously, being an insomniac is not helpful, right? Because we're not dealing with these same life-threatening issues, but the brain doesn't know that. We're talking about our primitive brain. So what can happen is, and I've talked about this before, but we call it the 3P model of insomnia, right? So there's a predisposition, that's the first P, the precipitating, which is the second P, and then perpetuating, which is the third P. So a predisposition would be something like having a little bit of anxiety or a family history of insomnia or a prior history of insomnia or depression, whatever. The second P would be precipitating. So that would be, in the case of the primitive man, that would be a black bear or whatever coming at you. In this day and age, taking animals and whatnot out of it, would be things like going through a divorce, or that can even be something good, changing jobs or changing locations, right? So that's the second P, the precipitating. So what happens is that predisposition that was there is now able to kind of flourish, and the person has really major trouble sleeping. Now, that would be transient, that would go away if it wasn't for the third P, which is perpetuating. And that, as a physician or whoever is taking care of the patient, that's where we really try to focus on. So that would be what we call bad sleep hygiene, right? So spending too much time in bed, napping too much, watching TV in bed, using iPhones or iPads in bed. When I say iPad and iPhone, I mean smartphones and tablets. I don't mean to pick on Apple specifically, but you know what I'm saying. Anything with the blue light that we talked about in the other video. So I've seen people eat in bed. Some people will, talk on the phone in bed. All these things except sleep. And our brain is, again, going back to this whole evolution basis for it. Our brain needs to know that this bed is my place of sleep. So we're not much more advanced than Pavlov's dog, right? So Pavlov was a researcher. He had these dogs where every time he rang the bell, he would give him food. So eventually what happened was he would start ringing the bell and their mouths would salivate even if there was no food around, around, because they have that association. So our brain works in the same way. We have this bed that if we do things in it other than sleep and have sex, our brain gets wired. This is my place of not sleep. This is my place of stress. This is my place of frustration. This is my place of worries or arguments or ruminating thoughts. So what we have to do in some cases actually reduce the time in bed. But went off on a little tangent there. But anyway, that's really where insomnia comes from. And with medication and with improving sleep habits and sleep environment, we can usually improve it to at least some degree. That's what we tend to try to do. So anyway, that's the end of this video, the evolutionary basis for insomnia. So if you have questions, please leave them in the comment section. I will answer all of them. Please like this video. Please subscribe to the channel. My book, Let's Talk About Sleep, is on Amazon. It's coming out in May of 2019 on paperback, so keep an eye out for that. And in the meantime, please pass this on to your friends, social media, so on and so forth. We'll spread the message, and we'll get everybody talking about sleep, right? So thanks for watching, and until then, sleep well.